Good evening, friends. We are continuing with the Peticha, the Chokhmat Kabbalah, Chapter 1, Section 2, Part 2 of the commentary. It is also possible to say the opposite. As the desire to receive within the Shafa materializes, there is a descent from level to level, as will be explained. Commentary. Both of these last two sentences are really one, except that the first sentence is from the perspective of the level going down, and the second sentence is from the perspective of the materialization of the desire to receive. Going down meaning moving away from the light, moving closer to the full manifestation of the desire to receive, the world of Asiyah, the world of Malchut, the manifest reality of creation. What is the difference between the levels we are speaking about? A level is defined as a particular measure of divine revelation. A level is defined as a particular measure of divine revelation. The souls descend from the thought of the Creator, descending from level to level. This means that the souls descend through different levels in which the experience of God is progressively diminished, moving further and further away from the revelation of God, further away from the light of God. Soul means light and vessel, shefa and the desire to receive the shefa. The soul descends through different levels in which the experience of God is progressively diminished. Soul means light and vessel, shefa and the desire to receive the shefa. So that soul is descending, light and vessel, shefa and the desire to receive the vessel, level to level, further away from the divine, closer to full manifestation of the desire to receive of creation, and further away from the revelation of the divine. I just said that. Progressively is diminished. God's revelation is progressively diminished. The first of the two sentences we are discussing is from the perspective of the descending levels. The Creator formed a progression of levels that the soul needs to descend through. The Creator formed a progression of levels that the soul needs to descend through. Descending from level to level is the materialization of the desire to receive within the soul. Descending from level to level is the materialization of the desire to receive within the soul. This means that the desire to receive becomes more focused on its own self-benefit, and the desire to give becomes diminished. So the desire to give becomes diminished, and the desire to receive becomes more focused on its own self-benefit. The second sentence is from the perspective of the soul. As the desire to receive in the soul increases, it necessitates a descent from level to level. This is because it is unable to experience the divine revelation in the way it could before the desire to receive increased. It's unable to experience the divine revelation in the way it could before the desire to receive increased. So as the desire to receive increases, the soul becomes further from the divine and is unable to experience divine revelation the way that it could in the previous level, in the previous world before that. These two sentences are discussing the same idea from different perspectives. Until the lowest level, where the desire to receive is materialized in its entire measure. Commentary. The desire to receive arrives at its maximal state, desiring to receive entirely for its own self-benefit and not desiring to give at all. So you could say that the higher up, the desire to give was fully online, and as it descended through the worlds and the desire to receive became more materialized, the desire to give diminished as well. The desire to receive diminished and the revelation of God diminished, because those two go hand in hand. Okay. This is called the world of Asiya. Commentary. This world is called the world of Asiya, the world of quote-unquote doing, because this is where we perform Torah and mitzvot, spiritual practice and spiritual learning. Another reason this world is called Asiya is because in this world God is hidden, and we need to work with emunah, embodied faith or belief. Acting with emunah is not an intellectual understanding, but rather involves quote-unquote doing beyond our understanding, transcending our understanding and doing through emunah. Desire to receive is the body aspect of a person. Commentary. The body spoken about here is not our physical body of flesh and bones, but rather an aspect of our soul. Our soul has a spiritual part and a body part. The light is the spiritual part, and the desire to receive is the body part. It is called body in relationship to the light. You could say body is synonymous with vessel in this case. That our soul has a spiritual part with it, which is the light, and it has a body part or a vessel part, which is the desire to receive. The shefa received is the measure of life in the body. Commentary. The level of life that the desire to receive experiences depends on the level of the desire to receive. The level of life that the desire to receive experiences depends on the level of the desire to receive. For example, if a person wants to receive physical animalistic pleasures, then the substance of the life in this body is animalistic. The substance of the life in this body is animalistic. The shefa received is a shefa of pleasure, clothed in animalistic desires and nothing more. If a person desires intellectual pleasures, then intellectual pleasures are the substance of the life in this body. If a person desires spiritual pleasures, then spiritual pleasures are the substance of the life in this body. The substance of the life in this body. The substance meaning the energy, the life force in the body. Why are some people's desires more physical and others people's desires more spiritual? This is discussed in the Baal Sulam's book, The Giving of the Torah, Matan Torah, in the chapter Freedom. The Baal Sulam explains that our tendencies are inherited and are also affected by society, friends, and the people we associate with. Our inherited spiritual tendencies are strengthened. Our inherited spiritual tendencies are strengthened by learning holy books and being in the presence of spiritual people. Learning from the holy books of people who have attained union with the divine, with God, Dveikut, ignites in us an inner yearning that inspires us to live more spiritual lives.